Court is back in session. On the docket today, the slap heard round the courtroom, sending one former football star to the slammer for a month. But now he's asking the judge to reconsider. It all began when Chad Johnson, previously known as Chad Ochocinco, was in a Florida courtroom in connection with a domestic violence dispute involving his now ex-wife. The judge was on the brink of accepting a plea deal with no jail time for Johnson, which Johnson seemed to really appreciate.
Do you have any questions of Mr. Swickle? But the whole courtroom laughed because you just slapped your attorney. I don't think anything's funny about it, Mr. Johnson. This isn't a joke.
I didn't do it as a joke.
Everybody in the courtroom was laughing. I'm not accepting these plea negotiations.
She sent him to jail for 30 days. Joining me now to discuss it, Jana Spilbor, former prosecutor, now defense attorney, and David Wohl, who is a defense attorney. Jana, your thoughts?
Complete overreaction by this judge. Probably a sanctionable overreaction by this judge, Megan. She's upset because the whole courtroom laughed when this a professional athlete made a gesture of gratitude to his lawyer. Why not send the whole courtroom to jail then? Because the only person who wasn't laughing was Chad Johnson. So I don't understand where the ire came from in this instance.
Isn't it universally accepted that you should not be touching anybody's bottom in the courtroom? Isn't that wasn't on the bar exam, but it was an unwritten rule when I used to practice.
You know, I've gotten hugs, I've gotten handshakes, I've gotten kisses on the cheek. I mean, it was a gesture of gratitude. He didn't pick something up off the table and spike it in the end zone. It was a gesture,
all right.
But that's what these professional athletes do. I don't think he intended at all for the courtroom to erupt in laughter.
The football field, yes, that's true. But in a courtroom where you're facing domestic violence charges, David?
Yeah. Megan, this judge, you know, every judge has a different definition of decorum in their courtroom. And to this judge, this offense was not much different than raising his hand and raising the middle finger. She saw it as entirely inappropriate. She was offended. And Megan, this isn't that uncommon. 14 years ago, I had represented a young man who was convicted on a 3 strikes case. After the conviction, the DA came up to me and said, you know, he's very young. I'll agree to 13 years instead of 25 to life. Well, my client sat down and the judge started to do the sentencing, and he said, John, do you understand this and do you understand that? And my client said, yeah, whatever, Judge. And the judge said, you know what? I'm not going through with this. I'm sentencing him to 25 to life, and that's where he's right now in state prison for his entire life, all for stealing a computer out of a school. So you have to be careful. This is serious business.
The thing is, Jana, this guy was accused of headbutting his then newlywed wife during an argument. He was charged with simple battery and domestic violence. She had a cut on her forehead. They had a fight over what she believed was an infidelity after she found a box of condoms from her newlywed husband. All right, so he headbutts his wife, and then he got probation. Then, according to this judge, he violated the probation. He didn't even bother to show up to meet with his probation officer during all the months, the previous months. So she was ticked off. He was blowing off the court. He was showing disrespect before he ever got in there, and was lucky not to get any jail time in the first instance. She could have given him up to a year. So I think she had about had it before he decided to do the butt slap.
And that very well could have been the case. But then what the judge should have done was, you don't enter into these plea negotiations just the attorneys alone. The judge is involved. And she should have said from the get-go, listen, I'm not going to take any plea negotiation that doesn't involve jail time because I don't like his history. Instead, what this appears to be to me is that she got rubbed the wrong way. She was biased, and then she takes it out on this defendant when that to me is irrational.
The poor defendant who's admitting, right? Isn't he admitting to headbutting his wife, right? That's why he was in it. So there's no question about his guilt. The poor abuser, and he,
Megan,
I mean, it's hard to find sympathy for him, so he's going to do 30 days in jail.
But he wasn't patting his ex on the butt. He was patting his attorney. After the judge said, are you satisfied with your representation?
It wasn't just the pat on the butt. It wasn't just the pat on the butt. It was the laughter that took place afterward in her courtroom, and basically turned her courtroom into a circus, Megan. And 30 days, of course, we all know that probably means 7 days, 10 days, maybe 15 days. It means nothing. Look, there's not going to be any change in this order. The 30 days is going to stand. He's going to learn a very valuable lesson that courtrooms are not football fields, and you got to conduct yourself accordingly. And I hope his attorneys had a
I want to show you this. This woman also disrespected the judge, and he also gave her time in jail, which was he later reversed. Remember this?
One would be 10,000. Are you serious?
I am serious. Adios. Come back again.
What's up?
I believe I heard you saying to...
Yes, I did. I'm not going to the...
I believe you... Did you say me?
Actually, I
Did you say that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Oh, you did say that?
I'm not
I find you in
gonna lie.
direct criminal contempt. 30 days in the county jail.
But he reversed himself after he had some time to cool off. Jonna, do you think that's how this will go when they have a hearing on Monday?
Nope, I absolutely don't. And for the same reason David said, because he's only going to do 2 weeks anyway, and I think this judge would rather stick behind a bad decision than admit that she reacted emotionally and not like a judge should.
Quickly, David, what do you think? Reverse?
I think it's going to remain, absolutely. 30 days isn't 30 days, and the judge needs to make a point, and good for her.
Up next, update on the George Zimmerman trial. Stay tuned.
This program is brought to you by Blue Emu. It works fast, and you won't